Today on the T podcast, I got Reese, who is the Cajunerd Media. We're going to be talking with him about his latest creations, his viral content that's, as of recently, a lot of AI work, which is really cool. We're going to talk a lot about AI, some of his recent stuff, and then some of his past stuff, whatever comes up. He's also a radio host on the Planet 106.7. I think with Chris Logan too. Yeah, kind of a partnership.
Co-host, co-producer.
Yeah. And regional AI guru. He's got a workflow. We're going to talk about that. He's done AI videos. So really cool. So sit back and enjoy the show. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and get this split screen back up. And real quick, our presenting sponsor, Chase Group Construction, they take the lead and become your one point of contact for the entire design build process. So if you want to learn, I have another sponsor. If you want to have a great looking business, or if you want to renovate a business that you already have, check them out. They could, like I said, they're your one point of contact for the entire design build process. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical centers to popular restaurants and to multi-unit shopping centers. Their website is chasegroupconstruction.com. Check them out. They're local and support them.
Good guy.
Yep. All right. So, Ash, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how things have been going. You've been on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. We were talking about some of your recent things back then. And that was probably, about a year ago now?
Yeah, that was to promote the first original modern adult Cajun, South Park-esque cartoon that I made, animated series. And so I wrapped that up in October of last year, of 22. I wrapped that up in October of 22. So our podcast, my appearance on the podcast had to be somewhere between the spring, summer when I started. Yeah. When I first released the first episode, the pilot, and so it was somewhere, spring or summer last year.
Yeah. So now your work is consisting a lot of AI content and not just simple like, hey, type this up and give me this image. You've gone into video, which is wild because I haven't even seen a whole lot of AI video content yet. Personally, I haven't even looked into it.
A lot of it's bad.
A lot of it's bad. I've seen like clips on TikTok of like beer commercials that they would make. Yeah. And it is kind of scary.
Yeah, it doesn't understand mouths very well yet, and just how to move them and how, anytime someone tries to make an AI video of someone ingesting food, it is always a nightmare.
Nightmare fuel for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the AI is kind of if you've ever really thought about your dreams or tried to remember them or worked at them too much, that's how dreams work. The person in front of you will mold and morph into another person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's
how dreams, things just suddenly morph into another thing.
And that's what the AI video looks like. It's like a weird dream. Yeah.
It doesn't understand the difference between a dream state and the real hard reality state yet.
Yeah. So kind of tell me a little bit about like your venture into going into AI. Like when did you start going into AI and why are I'm assuming you're fascinated with it because I'm fascinated with it. What about AI attracted you to it, and then kind of why did you go into it with your content?
So one thing I want to say is there's the difference between a tool, a toy, and a weapon is the mentality of the user.
Okay.
So some people are using AI is a fun toy to play around with. Other people like me is a great tool to incorporate into your workflow. And, megalomaniacs, people that want to rule the world like me as well, want to use it as a weapon. I always want to weaponize my creativity because we're all, no matter what you do, you have rivals, you have,
Yeah.
So it becomes a weapon against, rivals or competitors or whatever you want to call them, even though it's friendly, mostly, but yeah, so I think at the time that I was wrapping up that show and looking for the next thing I was going to do, that's when Midjourney came out with Midjourney 4, that's kind of what broke AI for the public. There was this image creator that really did a good job, and Midjourney 4 and 5 and now 6 are incredibly robust. I mean, the funding that they got once they released 4, they had so many investors, so much funding. AI, that caused AI to blow up. ChatGPT and them joining up with DALL-E 3, and now we have DALL-E 4. A lot of my stuff is made with, DALL-E. DALL-E they came from behind and got ahead of Midjourney. But Midjourney you have more control over, and I could in-paint and out-paint and, remix infinitely. And like, okay, but take this face and let me upload the face of the person I want you to use.
And you can't do that with DALL-E at the moment.
You can't.
Yeah.
I'd have to use the full ChatGPT paid version of DALL-E. I don't right now.
Yeah.
And maybe there's more command-based stuff you could do. Maybe, but
yeah, I have no clue. I don't use the paid version either.
Yeah.
I use I don't even use ChatGPT's version of DALL-E, which is this OpenAI.
Yeah.
I use Bing.
Yeah.
And so
not everybody knows.
I know. But so, and every time I get an image that I love, and I'm using AI for my own personal reasons and in some of my business, not developing Lafayette specifically, but like I have a couple of other things that I'm using it for and experimenting. There are things that it produces, and I'm like, I love this. Mm-hmm. How do I get it to improve on that specific image? And if the paid version is different, I don't know if it is because I don't have access to it yet. I would love to be able to like tell it like, hey, I like option 2, but like add this or like remove that. I think that would be great.
That's
or
how
like even a brush.
Works.
Man, see, that's nice.
Okay, I like 2. I want to go down the 2 rabbit hole. I want you to give me all the variations of 2 I can get. Then I can go in and start in painting. Like take this section. Like
brush it out
around a face and go make the face this face.
Okay. See, that's cool stuff.
So that's Full Moon House, one of my recent one of my first AI video projects. It all starts with Midjourney images of, give me a werewolf sitcom in the style of Full House and blah, blah, blah. And just spit me out a whole bunch of images. I'm like, okay, now make this character look like Uncle Joey. Make this character look like Uncle Jesse. Make this guy look like Danny. Put me a girl that looks like DJ. And then I have the basis to start making the scenes of Full House,
Dude. Yeah, I watched part of the clip, and I was surprised of like how accurate and like the movement. Tell me a little bit about the video component. How are you doing that? Because I mean, we mentioned video and how it's like a dream state. It's like very scattered, and like you mentioned mouths. Like if you're trying to eat a hot dog in an AI video, it looks very scary. But the video you created does not look like that. It looks more like an edited, like filmed video versus a scattered dream. Like I don't disclose what you're using specifically, but like how I guess. Are you doing that?
Well, that's just my post-production process of just using, things like After Effects and Premiere Pro and, the actual how I make video look good and how I make it look. Because a lot of people don't have any of those skills, that are doing AI. A lot of people that make popular AI images don't have any basic knowledge with Photoshop to clean it up to make it look better, They're just slapping watermarks on it thinking they did something. And, my thing is always I go in there with Photoshop and, clean the images up, make the fingers look right or whatever I have to do. And then, once I have the pictures that I want to use, I run it through this other program called Runway. It's a whole suite of AI video services. And Runway is what I use. I had a cartoon. Now, people know me from things like Ton of Manus, T-Man, G.I. Bro.
Right.
And a lot of those cartoons, they just recycle the same character animation over different backgrounds. So a big part of my process for things like Ballman, things like T-Man, was to actually frame by frame rotoscope out the character animations. That way I can create these loops of the guys just talking to each other, just go back and forth from one guy saying something, the next guy saying something, and it's just loops that I made, and I can put them in front of any background. But to do that, it takes all day to rotoscope, 10, 20 seconds of footage. It's painful, painstaking. And so, but Runway, they have a thing, I can draw a line around a character in a cartoon and go cut him out, and it cuts him out, puts him in front of a green screen.
Wow.
Then I can just recycle all those animations. So a cartoon like my latest Scooby Donk, which is, my Cajun version of Scooby-Doo, that only took, 3 days, where that would have been a 2-week process. Like Ballman took me over a week to make, to cut out all that animation and re-put it together. And now I can do it in a day.
Yeah. When you say rotoscoping, I'm not familiar with the term. Obviously, it's an animation term, I'm assuming. What does rotoscoping mean? Like what is
masking?
That?
Like, okay, so you're standing in front of me, and if I want you, just you, I have to cut, draw a mask around you, right? But then you have to do that every frame. So that's called rotoscoping.
Okay. Got it. So I mainly do like image editing. So Photoshop, Illustrator, that's my wheelhouse. Yeah. So video terms, basically masking out something is rotoscoping.
Well, yeah.
In a lamest.
That's what they used to call it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I knew guys that like the Hollywood.
Right.
They would send them just footage to rotoscope.
Okay.
And they had to do it frame by frame. They had a little company in Lafayette that was doing that for. That's how you make 3D video. You rotoscope each element, and then the 3D, it can do that, that perspective jazz with it. So I use that term, rotoscoping, because that's just an old industry term, but it's masking or whatever you want to,
Yeah, I guess.
An animated mask would be the most.
So I guess.
But to keyframe it frame by frame.
I know. That sounds
30 frames
tedious.
a second.
That sounds so tedious. Whenever you describe rotoscoping and layers and all that stuff, it makes me think of when Disney, pretty much, I think it's Disney that came up with this technique, is where they layer their glass or their films. So like Bambi, I think, so like you have like distant trees, then you have foreground trees, and then you had the character, and each thing was on a different pane. And so one pane would move faster or slower than the other, and it gives
parallax.
You this, the parallax effect. And I thought that was so cool. So that's not the exact same thing. It's not, is it similar to that? Or I guess I'm trying to like make sure I'm understanding fully.
Yeah, but now, like, I'm taking a whole picture, creating all those layers, separating all the layers, and to do it by hand was a nightmare. And now, like, to do stuff like that is much, there's an AI service that I pay them a monthly fee, and they just do the work. And they also animate, the still frames, the still pictures to animation. And some of it's, a little, like you're saying, it's a little scary right now. It's a little unnatural looking, but... I like it. Like, I like, evolving with it, moving with it, staying on top of it. It'll get better. And, I'm looking into, like, there's no good animation AI video because it's all focused on real stuff.
Okay.
The way real people and real objects move and stuff. In cartoons, it's an illusion. It's to trick the eye into thinking it's real. And the AI doesn't get that yet.
Oh, it's not jiving.
But I'd like to train my own module. Just all it is old American animation, like all your Flintstones, the Jetsons, and Scooby-Doo's, like all the classic animation that I grew up with, and just train a model from that, from those. Yeah. That way I can actually do what I do.
Right.
Just a few keystrokes,
Yeah. So let me go ahead and get my other sponsors mentioned here real quick, and then we'll continue the conversation because there's a lot about the AI technology and all that good stuff that I want to talk on. And there's a couple of new things that are coming out that I want your opinion on
Sure.
if you don't know about them already. So you've already heard about them before, but they're worth mentioning over and over again. Music Academy of Acadiana. They are a great local company. If you want to learn music, they teach it all styles, all ages. Piano, guitar, voice, drums, violin, saxophone, everything you want to learn, audio production. They teach all of that. So they have experienced instructors. They, like I said, cater to all ages and styles. They've sent students to college and to major music competitions. Founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson, who's also in a emo cover band called The Criers. So if you ever want to get your early 2000s emo kick in and you want something local, check out The Criers, really cool local band. Ultimately, the Music Academy of Acadiana's goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. Their website is musicacademyacadiana.com. And they're on Facebook, Instagram, all those places too. And then lastly, we have EPS-online.com, Electronic Protection Systems. You probably have seen their signs before, but basically they are a company that's been around for a little over 20 years, recently expanded to Houston, and they have smart home security systems. They have whole home water systems. So if you want a security system for your home that you can watch 2 weeks worth of footage in front of your house, and you don't want to have to worry about the 30-second motion detected videos, this is a great option to go with. And they're local, and also the whole home water system. Basically, if you have water in your house that it's like hard water, if you have a lot of sediment, or if it smells funny or tastes bad, this system can rid all that for you and have some nice water. And I say, taking a shower with this water, it feels like butter water. I know it's so weird to say.
Soft, huh?
It's very soft, and it almost feels like the first couple times you don't feel dry. You have to retowel yourself off, but
We got lotion in the water.
yeah, it's like lotion in the water. But check them out, eps-online.com, and there is a referral link if you want to check them out. It's link.developinglafayette.com/EPS. Check them out, and yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue the conversation.
I wanted to say something. You did mention Tim Benson and the Music Academy. My son is a 5-year student. He loves it. We love it. We love what they're doing. You know, to see him play those recitals and to see everyone get into it, you know, because the whole it's like a community of parents and, you know, boosters.
It's like over 500 students in there, probably more since then that I've heard.
Yeah, it's wild. The recitals are wild, man.
So what does your kid play?
Piano.
Piano?
He's going to move on to guitar soon. He's got big monkey fingers. He's made for it. So yeah. He loves guitars. I mean, so
dude, I would love to play the piano. I'll see like YouTube or TikTok videos where they'll teach you like a small little part of a song, and I'll play it, and I feel like, man, I've accomplished something. But then I try to get creative. Oh, sounds horrible. So I'm pretty sure Music Academy would be a great place for me to go learn. But so how you said 5 years?
5 years.
Wow. It's good.
With the same teacher for 5 years, so it's really, it's really good.
So it's
like
consistent.
It's like family, man.
Nice. Well, there's a good referral for you if you want to go to Music Academy of Acadiana. That's great stuff. Okay, so in the world of AI, you mentioned ChatGPT. I started using ChatGPT at the end of 2022, and this was when it just got like released as far as like to the public. I assuming it's been in the works before that, but publicly it was growing popularity, and I said, I wonder if I could use this to help me out. So I started using ChatGPT to kind of like write some of my articles.
Oh yeah, I use ChatGPT to write scripts.
Dude, it is insane what it can do, and then it almost feels like now that's like the most basic form of AI. You got so much more, like, especially with the video content that you're creating and the imagery that's being made. ChatGPT just feels so basic, but it's still very powerful and
it's foundational, though.
Yeah, it is.
You can build off of it,
Right.
You get it. Give me the prompts I need to get this other AI to make what I want, and it will. You can use ChatGPT to make prompts for other AI.
I guess I would say that I've thought about that, but I've never put that in action. So See, that's why you're doing good with the AI
In the
stuff that
paid
you're
version,
doing.
you can actually give it the photo.
The paid version of ChatGPT.
Yeah,
that's right. It does take photo.
You can upload a photo and it'll describe it for you, so you can use that to get the image software to make exactly what you want.
See, I thought about getting the paid version of ChatGPT, but what's it like $20 a month or something like that?
Yeah.
You
got so many. I'm paying that exact. I'm paying $25 for like 5 of them right now.
But yeah, so ChatGPT, interesting. ChatGPT is owned, or I guess owned by OpenAI.
Yeah,
is the base company.
Yeah, OpenAI is OpenAI.
Yeah,
and then people will take that and start a company off of something they developed.
Right.
In
So
OpenAI.
it's basically it's an open source AI.
Yeah.
Large language model, and Microsoft has a huge stake in OpenAI.
Yeah.
Considering that now Bing has AI running behind it, and it's all OpenAI based, and using DALL-E 3 and DALL-E 4 eventually, I'm sure, because I don't think Bing is using DALL-E 4 at the moment. I don't really know for sure.
Bing is using DALL-E 3, but DALL-E 3 looks great.
Yeah, DALL-E 3 looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks great.
So talking about the evolution of AI, I started kind of backtracking. I started using general AI, even imagery, or AI imagery back. There was an app called I don't know if it was Wonderful or it was Wonder something, and it was a free app at the moment at that time. And then you could just basically prompt up what you want an image of, and it would give you a rough AI image, and it was like almost like it was very artistic in a sense. It wasn't realism. It was very scattered. So like you'd put in a prompt, and it would give you like a couple of options, like maybe 4 of these artistic styles, and you can pick the artistic style that you would want. And I was blown away by that. I think they're trying to charge you now, so they've caught up with like trying to make money.
It's like DALL-E 1, like the original DALL-E,
probably,
and like the early Mid-Journey were like that. Just very rough, very. It's hard to explain, but like fuzzy.
Yeah, fuzzy and almost like kaleidoscope-ish looking. Yeah. Like some parts were like, especially with eyes and fingers.
It knew you were supposed to have eyes and fingers. It just didn't know how to lay them out. So you'd have 8 eyes on a face.
I know.
A dog covered with eyes.
Or like one eye would be one size and one shape. The other eye would just be wonky. And it was like, okay, there's a lot of desire to see it better, but like you don't know how to make it better. So like you would try to reprompt it, have better looking eyes, and it just didn't pan out. And recently I've noticed the finger situation. It used to be that AI images, if they had hands, there was usually, instead of 5 fingers, there were 6 or 7, and like some of the fingers were super long. Yeah. Some of the fingers were super short or like odd looking.
Yeah, 5 fingers with no thumb.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know, and that's you have to think about it. Hands have a lot of different orientation. It's taken all this training data, a lot of it, models and, photo models, and you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're always holding their hands in
weird ways,
in different ways. So it's trying to amalgamate all that, information and come up with something that matches, but there's so much variation in hand positioning in the training data that it really took them a while to explain to the AI, humans have 5 fingers. The wrist only turns this far this way and that far that way, I think the biggest, although it's fixed hands, if you have people doing yoga or dancing or doing like break dancing or any pro wrestling, it doesn't understand like the body positioning. You have people with a third leg, coming out, a weird place of the body, because it doesn't understand the difference between, a ballet pose, where the legs are, these people are very flexible. Dancers are very flexible, so they're kind of breaking the rules. A person can't stand like that on one foot with their foot over the top of their head. I can't. You can't. 99% of people can't. But there's photos of people doing it, so it doesn't know what the limitations of the human skeleton are,
Yeah, it's very odd, and there are some really good results, obviously, with AI. The bad seem to be a lot of the common stuff you see because it's just really bad. But some of the good, you made a post. I don't know how many. It was probably a couple months now. I think during Thanksgiving with the turkey carving post that you made. The image.
Go down that rabbit hole.
So I want to go down that rabbit hole because that was a very big post. You mentioned that it had over 80.
There's 82,000 reactions.
82,000.
That's just the reactions.
That's
not
wild.
The
and then the shares are probably over 6,000, maybe more.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
It was astronomical. I think it's the biggest thing post I've ever made as far as
right.
that kind of.
So I guess what I guess I'm kind of getting to is AI has gotten to a point to where it is really believable.
Yeah.
Like the trained eye can pick up on AI nuances.
The dead eyes.
Or just
the pupils.
Or the skin that looks too smooth and too perfect. Yeah. Every once in a while you'll see something, okay, this looks a little like what's that uncanny valley kind of feel? Yeah. You're like, it looks too good to be true. And I feel like organic photos of people look different. And so, but it's amazing how far it has come to where, there's a demographic in our population that takes things and doesn't know the limitations of the advancements of technology and how far we've come, especially with imagery, that a lot of people believed that this was a real boy who carved a real wood turkey.
Yep. With his dead father's tools.
Yeah, like the whole thing. And it got shared so much. Like,
I had the local media reaching out to me to get me in touch with this imaginary boy.
Oh, my God. Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. See, this is where AI can get a little tricky. I guess I want your perspective on, that kind of assumption of, is it real or is it fake? Like, how would you let people know what to look for? Do you even want to let people know what to look for?
I just don't see when it's liking a picture on the internet, does it matter if it's real? To me, okay, so you take a picture with a digital camera, then you upload that onto a computer, and then you upload that onto, into the cloud, into the internet, into the web. The real picture is on your on your camera.
Right.
That is the real, back in the day, there was chemical processes going on inside the camera with light and, with chemicals that put the image on a piece of film. Then you develop the film. You remember? You're old enough to remember cameras and film.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
We don't live in that world anymore. No. There's really the image that you uploaded from your digital camera is no less or more real than one I create. It's just pixels pushed together. It's like grains of sand, a sand mosaic that you make. Yeah. And each grain of sand is a pixel.
No, and I am in agreement. Yeah. I guess where I'm getting at is the bringing it into a reality sense of people believing that something actually happened. Yeah. Like that little boy carving the turkey didn't actually happen.
People in Homer riding alligators to school on the first day of school in 1985. I love that post of mine.
Exactly. Or recently, before we went live, I mentioned Ben Pierce, who's a swamp photographer, made an AI image of an alligator wearing fluffy fleece.
Yeah, he's wearing his winter coat.
Stuff. Yeah, it looked like LSU colored warm coats. And there were people in the comment section saying, oh my gosh, this is such a great photo, which it is a great photo in general. But the way they worded it, they believed that
he dressed up an alligator. And
he went out there in the swamp, put on his little waders, dressed an alligator. The alligator posed for the camera.
Well, it's cold, so they're real, They're real pliable. They're like in a torpor state.
Yeah.
So you could do that. You could dress them and put the hat on them,
That's actually a believable story. It is a believable story.
He wasn't moving.
But it's just, and it looked so real, and so many people shared that.
But I want to answer your question.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was, that's when what we call AI boomer bait is in the community. That's what we refer to it as, AI boomer bait, and it's the art of using AI to make an image that just, remember when you were a teenage boy?
Yeah.
If you saw one of your mom's lingerie catalogs, you went put that in your room. There's kind of like with older people, something that's endearing, something that's heartwarming, that kind of stuff. They take it and they put it in their little room inside their heart, And so when this started to come out and people there's this whole page is just dedicated to, for whatever reason, doing this. It's all these pictures of little black kids carving like in Africa, making an SUV out of stones or, like it's all this trying to touchy-feely, trying to, get to the hearts and minds of older people. And so I was like, what if I turned that on its head and so I've got, like I said, that was the biggest, but it wasn't the first, the boy with the turkey. I'm trying to remember what the first was. I can't even anymore because it really blew up after that. But I did other ones like I had a man with this old man with 2 giant pecans, and the whole thing is just a big nuts joke. Look at him and his big pair of nuts, and he's so proud of his big nuts. And you know what I mean? And people were going crazy over it because there's this thing that like is trying to, that can't be real. A pecan can't grow that big. And like, yeah, but a nut joke can be that, a big nuts joke can be that.
I know.
Is that real,
So I'm gonna try to find the
old woman with the giant eggplant, and I kept using the eggplant emoji, and she's like, I know more about the big eggplant emoji than most women my age. I have a lot of experience with big eggplant emojis. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What Facebook page did you post the turkey carving on? I don't know, what was
that's
it called?
a Cajunerd experiment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. Just making sure I got it. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up or try to find this one. I guess I can just look at the photos on it, and it will pull up pretty quick here.
It's. I make a lot of content.
Yeah, you do have a lot of content.
Let's
see if I can scroll through it. See the Star Trek. Let's see.
I wish you could just like enter a date and it would
I
break it down
know.
to that part of the timeline.
I think I'm getting pretty close. There's a carving there.
Tons of
I see the Hank Hill carving.
Yeah, because that's Propane Wayne. I got in trouble. Wayne Toops people kept bothering me about Cocaine Wayne.
Oh, no.
So I was like, well, how about I just make my own character called Propane Wayne? And it's Hank Hill. And it really has nothing to do with you, but everybody knows where I'm going with it,
And it's realistic for sure. All right, I think I'm getting close here. I see a lot of wood carvings. Basically, if you're listening, I'm going to show this photo. So if you want to see it,
reference.
yeah, you might want to watch the video. I'm trying to find it right here.
Yeah. So then I just kept recreating the little boy in the black hoodie, carving all kinds of stuff and calling it the same name, Landon Malassaw,
Yeah.
like making a running joke.
There's a lot of images. I'm trying to find
I'm in early December, so I'm close.
I have no clue where I'm at.
There's a date on top of each one.
Oh, no, I'm looking like through the whole
oh, God,
like
yeah,
spread.
but there's a lot of galleries that you're going to have to sift through. That's
Yeah.
the problem with that. I'm close.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm probably too far now. Let me see if I can scroll back up. But yeah, so I want to show this. I want to show this photo enough to where give you an idea. Oh, I got it.
Oh yeah, I have another good little story that I wrote with the picture. There's a guy in Shreveport in front of the Shreveport gumbo store, and he's got this giant tomato, and it says, "Congratulations, Steve Porto of Shreveport, Louisiana, and his giant gumbo tomato." In 2017, the Louisiana State Gumbo Board passed a law that Louisianians north of I-10 can only use 1 tomato per pot of gumbo. So Steve got to work breeding a super gumbo tomato, so he could continue putting as much tomato in his gumbo as he wants, which he feels is his God-given right, being north of I-10.
That's funny.
It's just a tomato gumbo joke,
Yeah.
Like,
all right, so I'm gonna show the photo here.
You found it?
Yeah, I did.
damn.
So this is the photo here. I don't see the view post.
I'm trying to get the metrics for you.
Okay. So right now the caption that I'm seeing, this is November 30th. So this is not the singular post. This is like the post that had a couple of images. Oh yeah. So what is the caption on that one?
It's a paragraph.
It's this one right here, right? The turkey.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So what's the paragraph?
11-year-old Landon Melanson, Ville Platte, Louisiana, in a scholarship prize-winning wooden sculpture that he made for the National Turkey Carving Association Scholarship Turkey Carving Contest. That was my tell, you know. He spent 6 weeks making it and only used the few tools his recently deceased father left behind. Let's wish him and his poor widowed mother a happy Thanksgiving. Because I just wanted it to be over the top and with, just how sad the story was. And it backfired and it made it more endearing to people. But no, so this all stems from, this is the first one I did. I found it now. 11-year-old Hunter and his wooden sculpture he made by himself. He spent 2 days making it and only needed his pawpaw's knife and a bag of cracklings. Show him his talent some love.
Oh, with the crawfish.
That was my first AI boomer bait photo.
Okay, so this pulling up the image here. So this is the one he's just showed me. So this is, what was his name? You said
that was Hunter.
Hunter, and with the wooden crawfish, dude. What I love is, you tell me, are you editing any of this after the fact? Because the one with the turkey has this house behind it. It looks like your stereotypical little Cajun,
if you type in the town and give me a house in such and such town, it will make it look like it's a house in that town, man.
Dude, it looks like a little Ville Platte home.
Yeah,
like,
I think I might have put Ville Platte, like...
I love the realism and his hair. Like, everything about this image screams real, except there's just certain little bitty things, but like it's so hard to see. So I can see why now that it's so believable. Because if you're just scrolling through, kind of doing that doom scroll kind of thing, and then you land on it, and you're like, oh my god, this is such a cool carved turkey, and then you read the story instantly. Yeah, I see how it's believable. Oh right. Yeah.
So I made this other one, Byron Olivier, who is my uncle. He's deceased years and years, but my uncle's name was Byron Olivier from Church Point, Louisiana, and his wooden sculpture bench he made to honor his long-past grandparents. The master craftsman carved the piece so that he could once again sit with his mama and papa and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes with them like he did as a child. They're jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, but they're jokes, but I mean, is that not mama and papa?
No, that's definitely, it looks real.
Yeah.
So
it took some work to get that mama and papa just right.
Oh, I bet.
Because I did this one with Midjourney, so I'm sitting there in painting, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you're editing stuff.
Getting the heads right. I mean, that's actually trained off of my face.
Really?
The man.
Dude.
His face, that's supposed to be me. It doesn't look that much like me, but
there's semblance, yeah.
There are some, yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Like my dad, actually. Which is pretty cool.
So could this I mean, so it could be used for good and bad, like depending on. But obviously, this is for comedic use,
kind of to entertain. I mean, to educate people. Using humor to.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've read any of the comments. How many people in the comments were able to detect that it was AI, and what was the majority in your assumption of the comments that just took it as real life?
I mean, there's
most of them, sure.
Yeah, for the Landon, because there's nothing really visually, and then the sob story is, I thought it was
good. Yeah,
it was comedically too sob, too thick.
So you thought you were laying it down too thick, but
but it was just thick enough for it to be taken seriously. Yeah.
Wow.
So then you could see the change. After that, it's all like to smoke cigarettes with your grandparents. It's all like very local jokes.
Yeah. Oh, so you really laid into it.
Yeah. So I started. They had the one with the guy with the two big pecans. I actually had to Photoshop the big pecans into his hands because the AI is trained with images of shelled pecans and images of whole pecans, and they're both tagged pecan in its training module. So it's putting the pecans look weird as hell because they're half images of shelled pecans and half images of whole pecans. Yeah. So they got like a bumpy brown exterior, like the shell looks like the meat. You know?
Yeah. Oh god.
So I had to make my own pecans.
Yeah,
which ain't hard to do.
Well, right. I mean, and that's the whole idea behind editing after the fact, because you do need to edit it. Okay.
And the same thing with the eggplant. They had white stripes on the eggplants. We don't
particularly there's no white stripes.
Yeah.
It's all like solid, like purple.
Yeah. So I had to go in and color adjust the white stripes on the eggplant.
Lord. Okay, so this morning, you may have heard about this. You may have not, because it's relatively new. I mean, this company is literally being jump started over the past 2 months. Have you ever heard of Rabbit?
No.
Okay.
This would be new to me.
Okay. So this device, let me pull up the website and see if I can pull up like the information. Okay. So it's called a Pocket Companion. That sounds terrible. Just blank out like that. But for, I guess, personal assistance related, this thing is a square little device that has a screen, it has a camera, it has one button, it has a scroll wheel, and I believe that's it, a little touch screen. For $200, this little device is 100% AI only. There's no apps. There's nothing like that. You can't text on it. You speak to it only, and it speaks back. And what this does is it can do things for you in multiple senses. So if you want to book a flight or a trip to wherever, you basically tell it, hey, book me a flight and a hotel and a car for this destination, and also give us suggestions of what to do during that week or that trip there. And it'll come back saying, hey, this is the information we found. This is the flight that we're booking for you. This is the hotel we're booking for you. This is the car we rented for you. And this is how your week is going to go. This is the restaurants you're going to go. Like, basically, it's like a travel assistant. Also, it works in a macro sense where with the camera, let's say you're doing something on your computer and there's like certain functions, like, for example, you mentioned Midjourney. One of the demonstrations that I saw was they used the device's camera and recorded them making a AI image on Midjourney and recorded all the steps. And the device sees that, records it. And the next time they wanted to create an image using Midjourney, they just held the little talk button and said, hey, create an image of X, Y, and Z using Midjourney. Yeah. And it would go, and it took like, I would say probably like 2 or 3 minutes because they sped up this one part of the image, the video. But it came back with images using Midjourney, and they didn't have to type anything. They didn't have to go to the website. This device essentially did it for them. Some other things, it can book an Uber for you. It does, basically what it's designed to do is reduce the amount of clicks that you take in your life. Like, so when you open up your phone, you have the app. First of all, you got to swipe, find the app that you want, or unless you swipe down and type it in, click the app. Then you got to type in, like, let's say you want to book a flight. You got to type in the flight. This whole thing, you just talk to it. And the developers, the people that founded it, wanted to reduce, like I said, the clicks and also make a true assistant, like something that actually works for you and like does what it, because like Siri is
dumb.
It's so dumb. I try to get it to play a song and it'll get the song that I want, but sometimes if the internet connection is bad or if there's something, like it just goes off the wire, and then there's times where the internet's good but it's like spinning, and then it comes back and say, oh, we can't help you right now. Or like if I'm driving and I say, hey, play this song on, and I forget to say YouTube Music, but I say YouTube, oh, we can't pull that up because you're driving. I'm like so it's a little dumb. And then Google Assistant apparently is much more advanced with an Android base. But still, I watched a clip of a podcast with MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, and they were talking about this device from Rabbit. and in comparison using Google Assistant.
Yeah.
And they attempted to use Google Assistant in the same manner that you would use this device, and Google Assistant failed.
Yeah.
They told Google Assistant, call me an Uber for home.
Yeah.
And Google Assistant said, okay, I'll start to call you an Uber from now on.
Yeah.
Like, it did not work. But this device is called the Rabbit R1. And
I'll look into it.
dude, I'm telling you, for $200, and they're selling, they're going to start delivering in March. It's about half the size of a phone. And yeah, it's got its own operating system, and so they use two technologies. They use large language models, but they also, I guess, coined their own version of a model, calling it LAM, L-A-M, Large Action Model.
Yeah.
So basically, this device will know, based on AI technology and how it reads websites, which button to click on a website to take the task for you without you having to do it.
So the whole thing with prove you're not a bot by clicking here, typing in these words, that's done.
It sounds like it's going to be squirrely in the future. But I mean, this device is so wild. I watched the keynote this morning because I was like, before I was getting ready, I just turned on YouTube because I needed to check a video out. And this, I don't want to call it my For You, my recommended, it said Rabbit Keynote. And I'm like,
no,
Rabbit Keynote? Yeah. Like, what is this? And it had like a guy, this Asian guy standing in the middle of a black screen. It looked like very Apple Keynote. And I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. It's like 8 minutes long. I'm gonna watch it and see what's up. And I was like, okay, this is fake. Dude, it's so real. And then another example is he held this device to his refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Now, the refrigerator was too perfect. The eggs were perfectly placed. The vegetables were perfectly placed to look so like the camera would see the vegetable. He said, look at my fridge and let me know what I could make, what dish I could make with the ingredients that I have in my refrigerator.
Yeah, they have smart fridges to do that, but now you don't have to do that. Yeah.
So, and then the Rabbit R1 comes back, oh, you can make a garden omelet. I'm like, clearly with eggs, you can make anything an omelet as long as you have eggs. So it's just interesting. And then Marques Brownlee mentioned that, everything looked like it had to be perfectly placed in the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Like if you had something stored in the back of the refrigerator, you were probably out of luck. It probably wouldn't see that. Like if it was in a bag or a Tupperware, it wouldn't see that. So
I'll tell you to freeze your gumbo. It's been 6 days. You need to freeze that.
Yeah, you need to freeze that for sure. Speaking of, we made gumbo on Sunday before the freeze, and we ate on it for like 3 nights, and we finally said, okay, let's freeze it.
I think it's 6 days. Yeah, you gotta do something with that gumbo after.
Oh yeah, because it probably starts to ferment in a bad way. Yeah. But yeah, so I want to know. Obviously, this is something you're going to need to look into and check out because it's very new. But what are your thoughts on this type of technology? Because the guys at Marques Brownlee and their podcast, they had their own thoughts and they were very good, criticisms of the technology. But based on what you've heard so far, what are your thoughts on this AI hardware?
I mean, I really would be more into like a business assistant than a personal assistant because I would like to manage my own life and my own food and you know what I mean? Wash my own clothes.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? Like there's a certain parts of your life I think you should do yourself, like hygiene and, nutrition. Yeah. You know what I mean? You should learn how to do those things. If your refrigerator tells you what to cook and when to cook and how to cook, are you
even living?
That's what I'm saying, like cooking, hygiene, maybe interpersonal physical contact. We don't need AI to help us with that. But I mean, I would love to. Let's say I ride in an elevator with some big businessman in Lafayette, and we're having a conversation. I throw him one of my harebrained ideas, and he's like, "Give me a business plan."
Yeah,
I could pull it out and go, "Okay, I need a business plan for this business." And within 5 minutes, I've got a killer business plan to bring back to him.
Yeah. No,
that's what I'm interested in. Yeah.
No, that's more along the lines what I would use it for too. It's it's interesting to see where they're trying to take this. And some of the comments that NKBHD, the guys there made, was that why isn't this an app? I know the company Rabbit is trying to get rid of apps, but it's still a piece of hardware that you need to keep on you. Even though it's half the size of your phone, it's pretty thick for now. Right. But all that good stuff. Yeah. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole, speaking of Rabbit, that you can get into. But they basically concluded like Google or somebody bigger is just going to make this baked into their already voice assistant.
That's what we're seeing.
Thing, and is going to either run Rabbit out of the hole or buy the hole and own the Rabbit, and then bake it into their phones. And your phone, because you already carry this around, why not have that technology put into this device? Because these are basically the Rabbit's device has a lower quality camera, less processor speed, a lower quality screen. The only advantageous part of it is to feature the technology inside of it, which can easily be put into the device you're already carrying. Yeah. But for $200, the justification is it's a low barrier to entry, and for $200, I mean, if it sucks after a year, you spend $200. No subscription required.
Well, that's Now, does it update like when their technology gets better? Are there updates for it?
That's a good question. Yeah, they didn't mention anything like that. So, and I think it is based off of. I believe it's based off of OpenAI. Yeah. There's still a lot of information that needs to be looked into on this, but basically they're calling this the future of human-machine interface.
But so I've noticed a lot lately, not to just sidestep a little bit.
Yeah.
Adobe, I use the Adobe suite for everything, and they're starting to integrate AI with Adobe. And if you've seen, some of my original animated works and stuff, that was all done with the Adobe suite. But now I can take an AI picture, crop it out, give it to Adobe, rig it up as an animated character. But what they were showing me, so you have a nutcracker jaw, which is you just cut out the lower jaw and you drop it down. There's a hole inside the mouth. You're gonna have to draw a back layer to fill in that hole. Now you can do it with generative fill. So you can click, around the mouth area, go generative fill, and then boom, the inside of the mouth. So now all you got to do is just animate the puppet jaw instead of, you know what I mean? So you can cut out the eyes and go, generative fill eyes, better eyes, all that, and there was another thing, text. I don't really have any need for text-based editing for video editing. I had the hotkeys and the quick keys memorized, and I have all the tricks, and my workflow is so established now. It would be slower for me to I want you to do what I do. You know what I mean? It's just fast. It's like teaching a child. Yeah. It's with your children, sometimes it's easier just to do it than to tell them, explain to them how do you want it done.
So
we gotta leave in 5 minutes. I can't explain this to you. Let me just do it.
Yeah. So you mentioned text-based editing. So with some of my podcast episodes, I use an AI software. I paid $100 for the year. It's like a subscription, and I upload one of my episodes. And what it'll do is it'll chop up like 10 or 20 clips. Yeah. It'll transcribe it, and you can edit via text. Yeah. That part I get, because if I want to shorten or lengthen the video by whatever word that I wanted to start and stop at, I just click the words. But like you're saying, editing a video with more than just that simplified technology, I wouldn't. If I had a workflow, I probably wouldn't use that. Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. But we're
I'm sure we're at the end of our
we're at about an hour, but so as far as future goes with the technology, where are you hoping to see AI progress? Not for world's sake, but for your content creation, and what do you hope to see? Because obviously AI is not going away. Yeah. It's staying here, and it's scary, but it's also really fascinating at the same time. What would you hope to see AI like in the future?
Yeah, well, I definitely want the video, to improve. I'd like to being able to do animation with AI is, that's my dream.
Yeah.
And use it to create video games, things like that, more high end, to create whole projects instead of just here's an image, here's a script,
Yeah.
To do. And you see that in like Hasbro fired all their package artists because they own the IP.
Yeah.
So they, you know what I mean? Like instead of getting someone to draw Bumblebee, pay somebody to draw Bumblebee, own Bumblebee. So I'll just get the computer to generate images of Bumblebee for the package art. So they fired all their whole art team for Hasbro, and it's like one guy just supervises an AI. But they paid for their own AI to make their own. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. That's why I want to get into training models.
Yeah.
And creating buying or renting or however you do it, leasing. You paid them something and then they give you your own version of the open AI model, whatever it is. Because I'm doing this on Google Collaboratory and Python, and like I'm actually coding and all that stuff. That's how I do all the music stuff, that make the AI songs and that stuff, and create. I did my own Danzig model. That was the first model that I did, Glenn Danzig voice model, so I can sing and it turns his voice into Danzig.
Oh man,
my voice.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm working on that. But yeah, my thing is I'm probably gonna have to figure out how to make my own animation model, like I was saying, plug in all the all the cartoons that we grew up with, break it all down into scenes and shots and all that stuff, and it'll learn.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be slinging content.
I want Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Doing this, wearing that. The same way I do with the still images, be able to do that with animation. It's just the video is so trained on real people and real life type things that it's not, animation that can't make heads or tails of it.
Right.
And the other thing is that bothers me with AI video is cars and vehicles. It makes no sense. It doesn't know forwards from backwards and I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't make Fast and the Furious.
No, but I get what you're saying. So it would actually improve your workflow, but like your speed of content production, and you'd be able to come up with a cartoon instead of months. It'd be weeks, days, or weeks.
Yeah,
or even maybe in some cases hours.
Yeah, hours.
Yeah,
if it's something small. Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man, check out that Rabbit R1. It's an interesting thing, and I figured you might find that interesting because it's based off of AI, and you just speak to it, and it's supposed to do all this stuff for you. And there's a lot of unknowns of like, well, what if I don't want the first option that you pick for me? So like if I say book a trip, what if I want to pick the hotel? What if I don't want to pay $300 a night? What if I want to pay $100 a night? Do I have to tell you to spend only $100 a night? So like there's some interesting stuff, but yeah, AI has a lot of room still, and it's moving so fast. Like I felt like, at the end of 2022 when ChatGPT was released, or at least publicly adopted, is what it seems like. I told a friend of mine, we meet every week for lunch, and he has machine learning technology. He knows all that. He works for a company, and he's used all those in practice. And him and I both agreed that in 5 years, we saw AI in 2022. Yeah. It's going to be unrecognizable. We're going to be like, this is totally different. It's going to become such a part of everyday life, especially with this R1 thing. Like if this becomes popular and starting to become widely adopted, like we're going to see people walking around talking to their devices and stuff just happening.
But we grew up with Star Trek and Star Wars, or I did.
Yeah.
Star Trek. They just tell the ship what they want the ship to do, and the ship does it.
Yeah,
and they can say it in any language, like any slang, or how the computer understands what they're saying. So get us the hell out of here, and the ship will get you the hell out of there. And in Star Wars, they're walking around with these personal assistants.
Yeah.
that can interact with any machine or any computer. They know every language. C3PO knows every language, either, you know, organic language and machine languages.
Yeah.
You know? C3PO and R2D2, they were this. Mm-hmm. They were. We have that now. We just don't have the dumb little robot following us around.
Yeah.
But then we'll be able to make a hologram if that makes us feel better. You know, in short order.
Have you seen the Disney movie? I think it's Disney or Pixar. Disney and Pixar. I think they're both the same thing. WALL-E.
I've seen some of WALL-E. That was a while back.
Yeah, it's been a while. So the ship that these people are on.
Yeah.
First of all, they got taken off of the Earth because the Earth was ruined. Inhabitable. And so they created this cruise line essentially in space that can hold everybody on Earth. And the ship is ran by this robot, essentially. And it's like a voiced robot, and it sounds very eerie.
Yeah.
It's meant to sound like that. But the ship runs itself. Essentially, the captain is just there to be a placeholder in a chair. The boat has this wheel, like the captain's wheel. It's like the face of the robot, and it has like a little red eye, and like it just does. And the captain can speak to it if it wants, but the ship just runs itself, and it's like artificially intelligent based. And then you have all the humans that are literally just consuming screen media for the rest of their lives, drinking big gulps, like sitting in a floating chair. Like, watch the movie. It's very dystopian style animation, and I feel like we're not far away from that. Because I mean, you look at people now, like in a social setting, like everybody's scrolling on TikTok endlessly and consuming content, and they're forgetting that they're even in a space. And you know, an hour or two later, they're like, "Oh my God." Yeah. I need to do something because I haven't done anything in like a few hours, and I've been there, but
no, I limit small screen time. Like I don't, because as I get older, my eyes get worse,
right,
and it becomes more strain. I get more eye strain, and it's just I have to do so much work on a bigger screen. I'm going back to interacting with the world more through my desktop, and no, I think. With the emergence of more AR, VR, and AI all combining, every wall in your house so soon will be, covered in an LCD paint.
Yeah, like almost like a hologramish.
You can have a holodeck, in your house,
Yeah,
and
especially with Apple's Vision Pro that's coming out in February. That's first of all, it's over $3,000, which is insane, but it's supposed to be able to put what is it? I don't know.
Forget the Google glasses or
it's like a whole VR headset that goes. But you're supposed to be able to see your hands and actually do stuff without actually having to wear gloves or anything like that. And you're supposed to be able to click and you can make a screen. You can work on your computer via the headset and
you just type it on nothing.
And you can create a screen as big as you want. You can have a theater in your headset if you want, and it automatically blocks out what's that vision? The peripheral. Yeah, it automatically blocks that out and creates a theater for you if you want to watch a movie in peace.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but $3,200 I think it is, or something.
A bit much for a big clunky headset.
Much. Yeah. And it's supposedly it's heavy, but has these really heavy cushions on the back.
Yeah.
But those people that are going to be early adopters to that, they're going to see the world in a very different way than any average person can see it, because nobody's going to pay $3,000+ for that just to have it.
I would do the chips, but I think I'm getting older. I don't see myself doing the implant thing.
Oh yeah,
just totally just put the computer inside my brain.
Well, that's Elon Musk with the.
No, it's coming. We'll be freer. We'll be free from the device. We'll just I could requisition a certain part of my visual field and say, okay, here's the stock's gonna be over here,
Yeah, scary stuff, man. It's scary and exciting at the same time, but
no, we go on all day, but we won't.
Yeah, I know. But man, it was good to have you back on. I love talking about your work in AI and some of the things that you had posted that went viral, and a lot of stuff that you post goes viral, and you post a lot of content. So something's bound to go viral at some point.
Yeah.
And it's all really
a crapshoot, but
yeah, it's all really creative stuff. There are times where I get caught and I'm like, oh my God, this is, and I'm looking, I think something's real, and I stop for a second. I look at the page name, and then I look back at the content. I'm like, oh wait,
Ash.
that's Ash being creative with his AI, man. But it's really good stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to come back on and speak to me and talk about your work.
Yeah, well, I'm planning to, moving on to be more, bring it back to the community, start working with local businesses, do some branding, get some of my characters, some of my ideas, and get them on shelves and get,
yeah,
helping people promote themselves, because I don't have any joy promoting myself. I'll just get promoted by making good stuff, and
right,
you know what I
right.
mean. It doesn't need to be about me and my face, and that's not how I built it. So yeah, I can't wait to take this emerging, all these emerging AI technologies and put them to work for our local community.
Awesome.
So you'll be seeing more of me.
Yeah, hey,
and my name.
I didn't expect that we would see less of you. Let's just say that.
I appreciate that.
All right, Ash, man, it was a pleasure to have you on. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with and what tools you use and where it goes. The video stuff is really cool, so I'm going to be checking out that more. But yeah, if you guys want to check him out, go to his Facebook page. It's Cajunerd Experiment. Really cool stuff. Check it out. But anyway, that's that. Again, Ash, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
All right, man. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you on the next one.